What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over what I think the most underrated weapon is in Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 3, and that is going to be the TAC AR. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and comment down below what you think of the TAC AR in Season 3. So, the TAC AR was added late into last season, and I really was not a fan of it at all, and I did not enjoy using it at all. But, like, coming into Season 3, it got a buff, and I feel like not a lot of players are talking about it just because of like how chaotic a lot of the changes were in season 3 and kind of how chaotic the discussion around season 3 has been online. I feel like no one's really talking about the TAC AR getting buffed that much. It got increased damage at range, which is huge because this was one of the main shortcomings of the weapon. How much the damage fell off at range kind of made it just feel slightly more than useless to even shoot at people at long range. And then it also got reduced recoil and reduced spread. The reduced recoil and reduced spread changes really aren't that big of a deal to me because the weapon already had really low recoil and not much bloom if you were using it without a sight. But these, even though it doesn't matter that much, it certainly doesn't hurt the weapon. You know, if you give a low recoil weapon even less recoil, sure. And then if you give a low bloom weapon even less bloom, like, sure, it's not going to hurt. But the main change that's really going to change, I think, how a lot of people potentially feel about this weapon is going to be the increased damage at range. Because last season, like I said, it really just felt like a pea shooter at any decent range. And because of that, I always just felt like, why would I rather use this than a burst SMG? Because the burst SMG is much better up close. And then, like, sure, at range, it might be rough at times to use the burst SMG. But it wasn't that good to use the TAC AR at range anyways. Like, I felt like last season it really just had no purpose. But this season, I think it definitely has more of a reason to actually exist. And that is to be a low recoil, easy to use option. And the TAC AR really still isn't my favorite weapon in Season 3. But it feels so much better to use to me. And it's something that I would take off spawn. Like, if I got a high rarity one with nice attachments, or if I couldn't find a weapon I prefer with attachments that I like, I would be more inclined to use the TAC AR. Whereas last season, I'm just going to disregard it and not use it at all. Like, if my choice is a Warforged AR or an Enforcer AR with no sight, and I end up finding a TAC AR with a sight or like a decent rarity TAC AR with a sight, I'll probably take the TAC AR for the time being until I'm able to maybe go to a weapon bunker or find a higher rarity of one of those other weapons that I would rather be using. And like I've kind of already touched on several times, this is a pretty big difference for me because, like I said, I was not a fan of this weapon at all last season, and I pretty much never wanted to use it. Also, in addition to having low recoil, one of the really nice things about this weapon is that it has a really fast reload speed, which can be really helpful when trying to damage cars in Season 3 because you'll end up in a lot of situations this season where, like, you just kind of have to spray and damage a car. And being able to reload quickly not only allows you to do more damage to the car, but also like deal with the people once you've destroyed the car, you know? It also uses light ammo. So in some situations where ammo is a concern, it may free you up to kind of drop your medium ammo for your teammates. And then you can get their light if one of you using a medium range or medium AR weapon and then you're using the TAC AR rather than both of you using a medium AR weapon. This has never really been the biggest deal to me in public matches because I feel like there's usually more than enough ammo to go around once I've gotten several kills. But with how cars are this season, you may end up using a lot of ammo during the course of the match, just like spraying at them. So being able to share ammo amongst your teammates is really helpful. And in addition to that being like more beneficial this season, being able to share ammo, I think it also didn't matter as much last season, I felt, because the water bending was in the game. So someone could just use water bending and then not need ammo at all because the thing had unlimited ammo. So it's like, I feel like not only did the TAC AR get a buff, but there's like several changes with how the game is played, which has kind of like carved out its niche a little bit better. I think as far as attachments go on this weapon, I typically would run the red eye sight or the first red dot, the speed mag. You could run drum mag if you want, but I'd rather just have speed mag and then reload even faster, you know? And then your grip, I feel like is a weird situation because it has low recoil already. So I feel like you really don't need the recoil reducing grip. So I feel like you could run something like faster aim down sights or laser sight for the better hip fire, which I think is what I would rather do if I do end up in a situation where I have to be hip firing this weapon, whether it be at a car when I'm in the air, or just if I have to go from my shotgun to this weapon, having the faster or the better hip fire is nice, and it's not like it really hurts you at all because the weapon already has very low recoil. And I do like having the muzzle brake as my final attachment just to like kind of have even less recoil. And I don't like having the suppressor on it, even with the increased damage range or the increased damage at range. It still does fall off to a point that's not great. Like it's not amazing at range, so I don't want to run suppressor and then make that range happen sooner, because suppressor does reduce your range on weapons in Fortnite. So that's what I would use: red eye, speed mag, laser sight, and then muzzle brake. And then I feel like you have a very easy to use, very low recoil weapon, and it's very solid. And I think the weapon is incredibly underrated, and I feel like the definition of underrated is kind of misunderstood sometimes on the internet. I don't think the TAC-AR is the greatest weapon in the game by any means. I just think it's a lot better than what a lot of people think of it, and it's a lot better than what I thought of it last season. And if you weren't really thinking about the buffs it got, you might be overlooking this weapon at times where it could be beneficial to you, mainly in the early game until you've been able to find something else. I am definitely more likely to use it than last season, but I still don't think it's the best weapon in the game. I would rather use a Warforged AR, and I would rather use a Thunderburst SMG as my spray weapon instead of this. The DPS of the TAC-AR is still quite low, and in a season with this much mobility and this many people in cars, I feel like that DPS stat really matters, because you have pretty small windows of time to deal damage to your opponent before they just get away with gloves, before they melee you to death with the gloves, or if you kind of are near a car and you have an opportunity to shoot at somebody, you have a small window of time to deal damage to them before they end up getting away, you know? So in those situations where I'm jumping out of a car or I'm very close to a car spraying the person inside, I would just so much rather have a Thunderburst SMG. But I do think the TAC-AR is a lot better than it was last season, and it's a lot more usable if I don't have other things that I want to use. And that's kind of how I feel about the TAC-AR. But let me know what you guys think of this weapon down in the comments below. I'm going to let some gameplay play out of a win I recently got using it, because I do think it is quite good. This gameplay is from before the vehicle nerf that came in, so the cars are still really OP in this gameplay. But since that update didn't change anything with the TAC-AR, I figured I would just still use it. So when I'm fighting the mythic cars in this game, they're still regenerating health and all that. But if you guys enjoyed this, give it a like, subscribe if you like to see more, comment down below what you think of the TAC-AR, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bang. I thought I would get that pickaxe off. That guy's name was Cornball. Fitting. And figured out how much lead with the bow. I feel like I have a good feel for this gun. There might be the mythic bow down there, but I'm pretty sure I saw him drop a purple one. He has a medallion for it, though. Like, I have the medallion now. The guy I killed had it. The other medallion is the shield one, which is the one I would rather have most. Yeah, the ARs can kill the cars. It's just, like, different. Like, you have to be exposed for longer to do your damage. And, like, I don't want to like break their car, have them get out, and then not have my shit loaded, you know? So it just depends. I only really want to use my AR on them if I'm not having a fight with them. The bow is a little bit better, I feel like, if I'm actually having a fight with them. Because, like, I can just kind of, like, shoot, dodge over and over again. Like I was doing versus that, like, the car I just killed. Like, I lost no mobility or movement at all when I was, like, shooting him with the bow. It's gonna be a hard game to win because this guy's just like cringe. He's like camping with the mythic car, and if somebody's like playing like that, it's like kind of GG's. And then this other person is in a car too, and he's probably not gonna do shit to the mythic car. Like, brother, you can mind your business, and that would be great. Like, I'm doing us both a favor. Yeah, kill him. No, what are you doing? He's got the mythic car driving at him, but he'd rather shoot at me. Okay, now he's on board. But see, like right there, if my AR was like completely empty, that might have been a problem. I accidentally dropped my mythic gloves. I didn't really mean to do that. Shield bubble. GG's. Right shoulder peek OP.